Welcome back to the DNX show, and today we're going to be talking all about Thunder Valley. All right, so Doc, what was your main takeaway from the 450 class?
Kind of starting to like Jett. Not that I didn't like him, but I kind of didn't like him, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't know. I hate when someone just gets a whole shot and wins every single time. And I didn't really like his personality, but I gotta say, every time I see him on the podium or in a post-race interview, like I really am starting to like his personality is really growing on me. And it's like I'm really starting to appreciate him as a rider. And I know that's crazy to like now just be saying that, but in the past I felt like, okay, whole shot, check out, never was really challenged. Chase was around him sometimes and maybe his brother, but like the dude is a mastermind right now. You know what I mean? Just like anything that they're throwing at him, he's able to just be better. And it's actually incredible to watch.
Yeah, Jett has been insane this year. Just the way that he's been able to manage the races. He's always been good at that, but just the way that he's been able to do it this year with, I would say, Tomac and AP kind of on fire. And that kind of leads me to my takeaway, which is the Jett effect. And we've seen it in the past with Chase Sexton. He gets close, he rides over his head, he rides and he pushes the limit, he goes down. Now, we've seen that 2 weeks in a row with Tomac, okay? Now, I'm not saying that he's the new Chase Sexton, as my buddy Davey said in our reaction clip that everybody roasted us for. But when do we start saying it's not necessarily like Sexton's fault, it's just the Jett effect when riders are riding over their head and making mistakes, try to get past them, right? One rider, though, that didn't do that, that was Aaron Plessinger. And that first moto was absolutely insanity, what he was able to do. I personally believe this. He actually mentioned this in the post-race interviews. He did it a little bit too early because once he got around him, he showed Jett those perfect lines. Jett saw him, was like, thank you, AP, got right by him, and it was kind of GG's from there. But still, I don't quote me on this because I think the only other time is Southwick from last year, but that was the first time anybody's ever actually passed Jett straight up, like dead ass. But I don't remember the last time besides maybe Southwick, but I don't even think he was in the lead. I think he was in second behind Hunter, and then Chase passed both of them. So I don't necessarily know if Jett's ever actually been passed straight up in first place like that.
I mean, what's crazy is like last week, you know, your takeaway, which I agreed with, was Jett's human, right? You got the third, which kind of showed some kinks in the armor. And like, it's just so impressive that he's not like, they're at such a different level, those top 3 or 4. But Jett's like not so far ahead of them that he's just on cruise control. Like he's having to really fight these guys off and fend like a very pissed off Tomac and AP. They all want to beat him, right? So they're all just going for it. And like he's still perfect. It's really impressive. It's just frustrating as a AP and a Tomac fan. But
yeah, so like in our reactions, I even mentioned this. I said Tomac is on rails and he's inching up closer and closer, but that Jett is just freaking perfect, bro.
Yeah,
like even crazy. When he makes a mistake, he still is putting down the same lap times. It's ridiculous. And that's the Jett effect. Everybody has to ride over their heads just to get close to him and try to make a pass.
As a Tomac, like big Tomac fan, I'm super sad that we've crashed twice in a row. But it's also really exciting to see Tomac on every week, absolutely sending it, you know, and like trying to prove a point every single week. I just hope that Tomac doesn't get broken by Jett, you know, like I just hope that we keep trying every week because it's really fun to watch. And I'm hoping that if Tomac can get a win, like even a moto win, I think hopefully things would turn around, but man, I don't know. It's crazy.
I think Eli needs to go back-to-back moto wins. I think he needs to have a perfect weekend because we saw what happened at Hangtown, right? He got the moto win. He rode really, really good and then struggled second moto, right? And I think he needs to do that straight up, beat him 2 times in a row to be like, okay, it's on, right? And I'm very, very curious to see what happens when Tomac gets in front and Jett has to be the one pushing. Like, for example, Hangtown, right? We get it. Like, he settled for third. He didn't really push the issue. We don't know necessarily if is that like the heat, was that bike setup, whatever. He wasn't 100%. But in the future, when he's 100%, say high point this upcoming week, right? Tomac wins Moto 1. Tomac gets whole shot in Moto 2. Jett's about third or fourth. Do we see a pushing over the limits Jett, or does he just settle and take the points?
I kind of feel like he would just take the points after crashing out Hangtown last year, you know? Like, I just feel like he's not going to. I also, like, man, I don't know. I feel like Tomac, it's surprising to me, but like Jett's in Tomac's head, you know, where he gets real antsy when he gets, at least that's how it looks, right? From the outside looking in, it looks like as soon as Tomac gets to the rear of him, he gets a little antsy and then makes a mistake. And that's really surprising. I thought Tomac's like real steadfast, wouldn't let that stuff get to him. But I think that shows like the Tomac or the Jett effect, how big of a deal it is that these guys need to like really, really push. It's super fun to watch. I mean,
when have you ever seen Tomac push the limits and crash? I mean, the last time you've seen is probably a long time ago. Go back to 22. Cowie. Like, Cowie. Like, long time ago. That's 3-5 years ago. I think it's like.
And I don't even know if that was just pushing the limits as much as it was like I've never seen Tomac crash when he's like on, you know, like the Hangtown thing lasts to, you know, trying to get to first or second. That's not really, I don't know that I've ever seen Tomac do that when he's on, just like totally locked in, full send.
Well, think about 2022, right? Him and Chase, battle to the death, every single race. He made, I off the top of my head, one mistake, Washougal. He still won that moto, right? Because Chase went down right behind him. So it's been a long time since I've seen Tomac make a mistake while trying to push to the lead, right? So,
yeah. It's honestly kind of cool as long as they don't get hurt, right? Like that they're sending it that hard. I'm all right. You know, tip over's fine.
Okay, so what about your biggest takeaway for the 250 class?
All right. Last week we brought up Chance Hymas, and I said I don't understand the hype. What has he done? There's no reason to be hyped up on him. And then the guy goes out and goes 1-1. Okay, so my takeaway is Chance proved me wrong, and I'm here for it. Right? Like I'm curious. Does this translate to High Point? Was it, he's really good at that track, right? Like, was it, I don't want to say a fluke, because obviously he's got crazy speed, but was that a peak? Is that like a Tomac on Hangtown, right? I don't know. He looked great. I think Deegan's going to be pissed going to High Point. I think Deegan's really good at High Point. So, I don't know, but Chance definitely showed up, and it was really cool to see.
Yeah, my takeaway is, even on bad days, Deegan's still getting second. Like, we know that he is like the best rider in the class, but that could have been a lot worse in Moto 1. He showed a lot of maturity, just backing down and getting into second and just kind of coasting the last 5-6 laps. It showed a lot of maturity because in the past, and I was watching some interviews, even Duffy mentioned this, that he would just send it, the bike blows up, he gets a DNF. In the past, he would just absolutely send it. And it shows that he's in championship mode now. He wants this championship more than anything, and he's willing to go 2-2 for the championship's sake. But you got to give credit where credit's due, and that is Chance Hymas. That boy put a minute on everybody, minus Deegan's bike blowing up, on third place and everybody else. He put a minute in first moto. Second moto, I'm pretty sure it was like very similar. I think it was like 45 to a minute. He loves that track. Absolutely loves that track because nobody was on even his level. Even Deegan, I would say, wasn't really on Hymas's level from there. Was he catching him towards the end? Absolutely. If his bike doesn't have a problem, does he maybe have a chance to pass him? Absolutely. But Hymas still got it done, and you got to give where credit's due. Okay, so staying with the 250 class, who was your biggest surprise from the race?
Honestly, Chance. I did not expect that at all. And yeah, I was honestly kind of stoked for him. I mean, I've always been pretty hard on Chance because I've never really seen much and why we were all so excited, but that was a pretty incredible ride. And if he can back that up, then I still think, unfortunately, he's so far back in the chip already. And Deegs, like you said, his worst day is going to be a second. So I don't know how I feel. I don't think the chip's in play at all, but hopefully we have a little bit of comp. That'd be cool instead of Deegan just going 1-1-1-1-1-1 the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's my biggest prize is also Chance. Like, I didn't expect him to come out swinging like he did after that performance in Hangtown. Now, I do know that he had some food poisoning, so I understand that he was sick and everything like that. But usually, if you're sick and then you come out swinging like that doesn't usually happen. All right, it takes about a week to get back to normal, right? And I was just so surprised that he had a perfect day. Now, like in the past, yes, we know that he's really good there, but I didn't expect him to.
That was honestly, like, incredible.
He just straight up beat Deegan, man. Like, straight up second moto, just beat him. Like, Deegan's bike was fine. He pulled whole shot. He led the entire race, led every single minute, and just straight up beat Deegan. I did not expect that one bit. So, huge shout out to Chance. We have been hard on him in the past.
Sorry,
I would really love to see what he can do at High Point, all right? If he can come out swinging.
Back it up.
Back it up, battle with Deegan, even if he gets second, man, but he's within 3 to 5 seconds at the very end, I still think that's backing it up, in my opinion.
Yeah.
However, if he goes out there and gets 6th through 10th, like, then I don't know. Is that just a fluke at Denver or Thunder Valley? Like, I'm about to say Denver Valley.
Denver Valley, same thing.
At Denver Valley, was that just a fluke? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
But what was your biggest surprise for the 450 class?
I know he had a little bit of an issue after this, but I was really stoked on Cody Shock. Like, looked really good when he was up front. Now, obviously, he had his little issue and faded pretty far back. But when he was up front, he looked like he belonged, looked really good. And I would like to see more of that. My P20 guy.
Hey, P20 second moto. That's all I got to say. Yeah. He did crash. Man. He did crash. I have to come back. But no, yeah, I mean, that whole shot, I can't believe he pulled whole shot out of everybody. Like,
he's only like 4'8", so
it was crazy. And he led, what was it, a full lap and a half? I think it was. I think he led a full half. Yeah. So honestly, amazing job by Cody. His results don't really show the whole story there. 15th overall, going 11:20. Don't look at that. Just look at what happened at the beginning of the moto, and a pretty solid performance in Moto 1. My biggest surprise, I mentioned it earlier, man. AP passing Jett. I didn't expect that.
I'm not surprised.
You are surprised. Nobody thought he was going to pass Jett, bro.
I believe. Okay,
you can still believe, but nobody's passed Jett before, dude. Like, straight up. Like, I don't know. Like, that was impressive. It was freaking awesome. We were going crazy in this stream. And honestly, I think someone even like typed in the chat, where the hell is Doc at? He's probably yelling off the top of his head right now. And
both my kids and my wife, we were like, yeah, we're all excited.
It was so sick. And truthfully speaking, I think with AP doing that, second moto, not so good. He said he went for like a bike change and it didn't really work out. But if he can replicate that first moto in the upcoming races, he legit has a shot at winning, because that was deep in the moto. That was like 4 minutes left that he passed Jett, right? So if he can maybe get a whole shot and lead and not have 105-degree weather and not fade, and also not show Jett his lines like 4 minutes prior to the 2-lap board, I think he legit has a shot at winning one of the races coming up. At least some moto, for sure.
He is learning a lot, and I got some hot takes coming up. But the thing, like, man, I don't want anything bad to happen to anyone, but say Jett goes out for whatever reason, maybe it's just like a bike, right? Loses 50 points. Dude, AP like very much has a shot at this Jett. What's crazy is AP's always in that conversation, and then he has like weird fluke races. or like weird fluke motos, but like AP's bad motos have been like 5th, 4th.
Even this year, his worst moto has been 5th, and that happened
That's what I'm
twice. That
saying.
happened at Fox, and that's happened at Thunder Valley Moto 2.
So I'm saying his bad motos are 5th. If we can do 2-3, 2-4, 4-3 all year, I'm telling you, at the end of this year, if the big guys, that's why I say big guys, but if Jett and Tomac, like the guys that are, the favorites for the
supposed to win,
right? The guys that everyone was talking about, those guys, they're going for it. They're gonna have, maybe they have bike things. Tomac's already been way back once, you know what I mean? And I don't know. It's gonna be hard for Jett to finish off the podium, but
I really believe AP can get it done. I'm looking at his results since last year and this year, and since last year at Redbud, his worst finish has been a 5th. And so if he can somehow manage to just lower that by 1 to 2, that's going to be huge for the points, because if you never know if Jett has a bike problem. I mean, go back a couple of years. I'm thinking 250 here. Hunter had a bike problem at Southwick, right? The bike got overheated and stopped working. You never know what could happen, right? And if he could just consistently get on the box, because that's now 2 weekends in a row that he's been on the box. Hangtown, Thunder Valley. Last year at High Point, he went 5-5. He has a couple of guys aren't really there anymore, right? Because Roxon was in that race, and then Chase was in that race. That's 2 guys out. That's potentially another podium spot for him. And I really do believe that AP can make something out of this. And he possibly might have 7, 8, maybe 9 podiums this year, which is crazy to think about.
He looks the strongest to me out of everyone. Like Jett, Tomac, and AP look the strongest. And I think like Jay Coop looks really good, but then he just does what he does like sometimes, where he just like doesn't, I don't know,
Moto 1,
Moto
where
1.
he's already 30 seconds back and he's the fastest guy on the track in qualifying. I don't get it.
I don't understand either. He's incredible. Jay Coop is just a phenomenon, and then you just don't see him the whole broadcast sometimes. I don't know. It's the strangest thing.
One thing for Justin Cooper before we go any further is you couldn't have freaking led one more lap, bro. Just one more lap, I would have got my 15 minutes of Jay Coop leading. All right. It was about 12 minutes and 50 seconds. All I needed was one more lap. All right. And both of my bold predictions would have came true.
He was thinking about his private jet.
He really was, bro. I don't get it. But no, shout out to AP. Impressive. I'm very excited to see what he can do at High Point. If he pulls whole shot, he might go out and win that shit. I'm just being honest. Now, moving on to letdowns, and let's stay in the 450 class. And for me personally, my letdowns are both the Kawasaki boys, all right? And that is Prado and Jason Anderson. For Prado and Anderson, they DNF second moto. Anderson, I saw on Racer X that he stabbed his foot, twisted his knee, and then he went down, and then he realized, like, hey, this is too much pain. I can't really finish and be safe out there. So he pulled in and he called it quits. And then for Prado, he hit a kicker in a rut, and then he also called it quits. He wanted to be safe and just make it through the next weekend, right? But Prado had a top 5 start.
Did Prado crash?
Yeah, then he crashed in second moto, and then he DNF'd.
I mean, man, we just hit a bad kicker, and we're like, no. Okay, well.
Oh, no, he crashed with the kicker and right? He started top 6, bro.
Yeah.
You stay in top 6. That's Prado. 2-time MXGP champion. Now, I do get that, like, he doesn't look the same. I get it. I know it's tough for him right now. I know, I get it. And I'm giving him a pass this year, all right? Because he doesn't know the tracks.
I agree.
We've been saying this all season long. But you had a first full moto where you actually finished.
I mean, he just doesn't really look like he's gelling with that bike.
Yeah, he finished 8th in Moto 1. Which is not bad at Thunder Valley, track horrible, high altitude. I get it. But then DNF second moto, like, you had a great start. You just pull in for 8th, man. But at the end of the day, I'm giving him a pass. For Anderson, my season prediction might come true. That's all I gotta say. If you guys haven't realized what that is, it's the biggest flop of the year. So
I agree with both of those. The only thing else I would add is Tomac has crashed. Please stop. Okay? Please stop.
So I actually had that written down, and then I took it out because I was like, I did that last week. So.
Stop. I'm going to put it again, okay? Not back-to-back crashes. Thank you.
Dude, if it happens a third time at High Point, we have to start thinking about like the Jett effect and Chase Sexton, like legit, right? Because we got roasted on the comments in our reaction, but 3 times is not a coincidence. That's a pattern. All right. So
anything to defend our Sexton King. You know what I mean? Anything.
All I gotta say is shit.
All right. Well, for 250s, I have one very big letdown, and I'm very sad, and I don't know why this happened. But we went. Hold on. Let me look. 16-14 Julian Beaumer.
I will say that he was under his bike in Moto 1. I will say
Fair.
that.
He was. Yep. There was a motorcycle on his face.
It was.
For like a long period of time. Moto 2?
All I gotta say is he's not an outdoor guy, and I said that from the beginning.
I mean, it's 14th. I mean, again, I don't want to be over dramatic. Listen, I'm sitting here in a nice air conditioned room. I could not get 14th. Okay, I could not get top 400. Juju
Definitely
could
be top 5. He should be top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't even actually think about Julian. I was thinking more of, now these guys aren't necessarily letdowns here. However, they kind of are, because they haven't really shown what needs to be shown to win some motos, at least for one of these guys, and that is Tom Vial and Joe Schmoda. For Tommy V, he went 6.5. That's not a championship performance, man. 6.5?
Dude, this overall is insane. Levi went 8.3 for third. Casey Cochran went 13.6 for sixth.
I actually want to give a big shout out to Garrett Marchbanks here, because he went 8.3, or no, he went 3.8 in the race or whatever, but his transponder fell off and they're showing him like basically dead last, but he actually got 8th. He came back from dead last to 8th, and he should be in 4th place. So yeah, so Tom Vial technically got 5th. That's not good. Not good at all. So that's why my letdown is Tommy V. And then also Joe. Now, yeah, so for Joe, it's just like he went 2-2 back to back, and then he kind of struggled at Thunder Valley. Like, we expected you on the box, man. I expected you to be second. You're the second best guy in this class, and now it kind of makes me think that Chance is the second best guy. He just beat you by a minute. He just beat you by a minute. Like,
I think we got to see what happens to High Point, right? Like, maybe it's just an off one. If Joe goes 9-4 again, then, then yeah, and Chance goes 2-2 or 1-2 or something like that, then yeah, Chance. But
I will say that if Joe starts to fade here towards the end of the year, all right, we got to start thinking about my season predictions here of the biggest flop, because he started out second place. And if he starts fading, it might come true. That's all I got to say. But yeah, I'm just kind of bummed. Tommy V, man. Like, Tommy V even crashed in Moto 1. Like, this is not the Tommy V we want. This is his last season in 250s, and he's not showing up to be the champion of MXGP, right? Like, I just don't know. He's been here 3 years now. He should be better than this.
I think he's going to be good in a 450. I really do. I think he's going to be really good in a 450. Let's talk about best rides, okay? And you had a surprise for Aaron Plessinger no. I was not surprised, but that was my best ride. Okay.
I was surprised he passed Jett. I'm not saying the ride wasn't good. I'm saying he passed Jett.
Jett, but he's a hater.
I'm not a hater, dog.
Josh is a hater.
I'm not. Promise. I'm not. I swear to God.
No, incredibly impressive. I was really impressed. Super stoked. Looked very strong. Made some bad bike changes. 5th. That's fine. Good bike changes. I think he would have gotten the podium both races. I'm liking it. I'm really liking it from AP this year.
If he doesn't make a bike change, I think he does the same thing he did in Moto 1, in my opinion. Right? Like, he goes through those guys and makes quick work and try to get up to Jett with Tomac. I think he really does. Yeah, like I said, you have to give it to AP, like, props for passing Jett. My surprise. He rode phenomenal, man. He was riding so good. He looked like he was the best guy out there for a little bit, right? And what's even cooler too is he not necessarily allowed here, but he let Hunter get by him. He found his groove. He found the lines that he wanted, got right back by Hunter, pushed himself all the way up to Jett, made the pass, led for a little bit, and then obviously got passed again. But that was very impressive.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's not a thing of, AP got a whole shot, ran away, was 10 seconds out front, and then Jett caught him and he finished second. Like, AP went backwards and it didn't look great, regrouped, and then dogged on everybody else.
Yeah, that was very impressive.
Yeah.
For my
You don't see that very much. So.
No, not at all. I said this. Nobody's ever passed Jett. Like, I've like that's okay, but anyways, my best ride for the 450s was Valentin Giode, and that guy rode phenomenal. Now, did the broadcast ever pick him up? Absolutely not. They don't love the foreigners, all right? But he went 14/8 for 9th overall. That's very impressive in my eyes. First time ever at the track, getting a top 10, beat Prado. I mean, second moto, he beat Prado. He's been riding great the last 2 weeks. You guys might hate him because he's actually the guy that bumped Tomac on the start at Hangtown Moto 2. Don't judge him for that, all right?
That guy needs to get banned.
Don't judge him for that shit, all right? He's been riding great, all right? And he's going to be here the whole season. And I personally believe that he's a guy to watch for top 10s. Like, maybe even top... it's going to be hard to catch for, like, RJ because RJ's been riding great. RJ went 6-7 for 7. So, like, that's going to be tough. But I think he could be, like... 9, 10, 11, right there. And him getting a top 10 in this field with some of the heavy hitters here still, like, that's very, very impressive in my eyes. But what about your 250 best ride?
Speaking, you just mentioned someone that wasn't really on the broadcast. I'm also going to mention somebody that wasn't on the broadcast, but I saw him. I see you, Dylan Schwartz. Okay. Little P7 overall, went 10-9. Love to see that.
A 10-9 for 7th? That's crazy.
The overalls are diabolical. The overalls are insane.
Well, technically he was 8th because of Marchbanks, right? But still.
Yeah.
But
still great.
Yeah, that's a very impressive. Dylan's been on rails the last couple of weeks. Very excited to see what he can do. He's also on that Bar X Yamaha team, that privateer team. Like, top 10 with that? Dude, very, very impressive.
Ahead of Masterpool, Volan.
I was about to say, he's the second Yamaha in the field overalls.
Yeah,
out of all stars. That's crazy.
But he's ripping.
Also, this isn't mine, but I want to give a big shout out to Mikel Harup. He finished right behind him. He was riding phenomenal. He got a great start in Moto 1. Moto 2 jumped into the banners. We don't count that, all right? Moto 1, though, was amazing. And Moto 2, he actually did come back to 12th after that. So that's very, very good.
What if that's like a European thing?
It probably is, bro. Low-key, because I think Prado was in the banners, too. So,
I mean, RJ does it, too. Maybe he's,
But... my actual best ride is Garrett Marchbanks. So for Marchbanks in Moto 1, way outside the top 10. I think it was like, I think my buddy B said 16th in Moto, or like first lap, something like that. Third place. That's impressive. Second Moto, we know what happened. He crashed on the start, dead last, all the way up to 8th, 4th overall. He's riding so good. The only problem with Garrett right now is he cannot get a start to save his life. If he can get a start, I think he can maybe battle for top 2. But then again, like, what would we see out of Garrett if he does start up there? Because, you know what I mean?
There's those guys that are like used to being bad at starts, and so when they do finally get a start, they like don't know what to do with their hands, and then they end up fading.
Exactly. So I'm very intrigued to see what happens with that. But huge shout out to Garrett, huge shout out to Mikel Harp, and huge shout out to freaking Dylan Schwartz, bro. You guys are riding phenomenal.
It's time for hot takes, okay? This is the segment where we're going to give you a hot take. It's a little, at least mine are very hot, okay? So well, my 251's kind of chill, but 450 is pretty hot. So I guess we'll just go with you. You do, what's your 250 hot take? Give me hot.
My hot take for the 250 class is Tom Vial doesn't win a race this year.
That's an ice cold take.
I'm just saying, like, we expect him to win. He's a championship contender. Mm-hmm. He was at the very beginning of the season. He's already DNF, so I guess maybe not anymore. But he's expected to win, and I just don't see it in the cards for him this year. I'm not even a moto win, in my opinion. Like,
not a chance.
I think it's going to be Deegan, Chance, Joe. Levi's been pretty good lately. Garrett, I just don't see Tom Vial. Maybe Garrett. Shoot, we just talking about him.
Yeah.
Where's Tom Vial sitting at? He's not riding good enough to even get close to the guys. So
yeah, I agree.
I don't
I
necessarily.
say it's a
maybe
cold
it's
take because, yeah, I don't see it happening either.
okay. Maybe it's a cold take. My bad. We're changing it up. It's a cold take this time, I guess. But what about you?
My hot take for the 250s is Deegan wraps up the chip 2 rounds early. That's a pretty hot take. That's
Yeah, bro.
That's 100 points.
It's possible. It's possible, bro.
It's not as hot as my 450 take though.
Think about this for Deegan. He's already up 26 on Joe, and he's already up 49 on Chance in third. It's only been 3 rounds, bro.
Dude, I'm telling you, everyone else is so inconsistent for various reasons that like every single one of his title contenders, other than Joe, has DNF'd at least one moto, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But now let's talk about 450s because I think both of ours are kind of spicy here. And I'll go with mine first because I think yours is going to be a little bit spicier than mine. But for me, Jett Lawrence passes Eli Tomac in total overall wins by next year in motocross.
So that's just like a sport hot take, not a season hot take.
Correct. So Eli Tomac has 32 motocross overalls. Jett Lawrence has 18. That's only 14 races. We got 18 rounds to go in those 2 in the rest of this year and next year. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? It's probably like 50% right now, like dead ass. But I don't know. I think he might do it.
I originally had for my hot take that Jett goes undefeated, and I didn't want to like fall into that's what everyone's saying, and it's kind of generic. I also don't think it's that hot. I think he's probably going to do that. However, I'm going to contradict myself right here, and I'm going to say that someone does beat Jett this year. I think multiple people could beat Jett. Also could see him going undefeated. I don't know. It's racing. But my hot take is Aaron Plessinger gets an overall before Eli Tomac. Listen, guys, use the brains, okay? Use the brains. Who has looked the best until he made some mental mistakes over the last couple rounds? AP. That's what I'm saying. Okay? That's what I'm saying.
Dude, imagine AP gets a win next week. Or this week, I guess.
I'm saying AP made a little mental mistake at Hangtown, then showed his lines too early this time. I mean, I'm just saying he's learning. The speed's there. The fitness is there.
I think also his starts
I don't think
he's
got the pressure. His starts are there. The pressure isn't on AP yet, right? If he wins, then it'll be on him. But nobody's talking about AP. The whole industry straight disrespecting week after week after week. Nobody's talking about AP. It's always Tomac and Jett. And there's so much pressure on Tomac that it's making him make mistakes because he's pushing. AP ain't got no pressure.
I wonder who also had that pressure. He's not racing right now. He's going to be on Kawasaki next year.
Okay, yeah, but okay, what about, I could think of 10,000 times that Chase Sexton flipped over the handlebars by himself in the lead with no pressure, okay? Like, this isn't a Jett thing, okay? You're going to have to, I understand your Jett theory, but you're going to have to disprove 4 years of Chase Sexton going over the bars by himself.
Actually, I technically don't. Because
wait,
hear me out.
Races in a row in Supercross, and Jett wasn't even there.
What about Eli Tomac versus Ryan Dungey? Go back. Eli Tomac made mental mistakes after mental mistakes versus Ryan D. I mean, it's not that far-fetched.
What are we saying about Supercross? 6 weeks in a row.
Tomac pulled off to the side one moto to zip tie his pants.
All right, this has been a great episode. I hope you guys like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.